Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Our today's topic is returns to a factor, the law of variable proportions or law of diminishing returns. Consider a situation when land is a fixed factor and labor is a variable factor and the farmer is producing wheat. Since land is a fixed factor, he can produce more of wheat only by using more and more of labor. Now, will everyone will every additional unit of labor employed on the given land yield the same amount of additional output of wheat? It's a question here. Or we can say, will marginal product of the labor remain constant for each and every additional unit of the labor employed? No, it can never happen. If marginal product of labor was to remain constant, no matter how much of the labor is employed, then a country like India would have produced more and more of wheat using more and more of labor on the same piece of land. It would have never suffered food problem. The fact of the matter is that marginal product must eventually diminish, and the logic behind this is very simple, that always there is some ideal ratio of the factors of production if L and K are the two factors and if K is a constant. The ideal ratio is struck by varying the use of L, corresponding to the ideal ratio between L and K. Then marginal product of labor should be at, at its maximum. But once the ideal ratio is reached, any increase in labor would mean excessive employment of the variable factor, or it would mean lesser and lesser availability of a fixed factor per unit of the variable factor. So accordingly, marginal product of labor must start declining, and we ultimately reach to a point when another additional unit of labor adds nothing to the total output. So it implies that marginal product of labor becomes zero, and in some exceptional situations, marginal product may even become negative. And this is the essence of the law of variable proportions or the law of diminishing returns, also called law of diminishing marginal product. See, law of diminishing returns or the law of variable proportion states that as more and more of the variable factor is combined with the fixed factor, a state must ultimately come when marginal product and eventually average product of the variable factor starts declining, and marginal product of the variable factor can rise but only in the initial stage when the fixed factor is not fully utilized. Now, let's see the explanation of the law. If you see this table, the law of variable proportion is explained with the help of this table 1 and figure 1. This table shows the law of variable proportions. The units of labor, this column shows the units of land and the units of labor, total product and marginal product. You see, this table shows that as more and more units of labor are used, table shows that as more and more units of labor are used, marginal product tend to rise. Marginal product tend to rise till 3 units of labor are employed. In this situation, total product increases at the increasing rate. Total product increases at an increasing rate rate. This is the situation of increasing returns. This is the situation of increasing returns to a factor, right? But with the application of the fourth unit of labor, situation of diminishing returns set in. You can see here, margin product decreases. It starts, margin product starts decreasing, and total product increases only at a decreasing rate. And this diminishing marginal product reduced to zero, and here the total output is maximum 15 when the marginal product is 0. And this diminishing marginal product implies diminishing returns to a factor. And eventually when the marginal product may be negative, so you see the output total product starts declining from 15 to 14, when the eighth unit of a variable factor is employed. When the eighth unit of the variable factor is employed. So it shows that a negative margin product implying the negative returns to a factor. Now, if you see this figure, this is the figure. If you see this figure, margin product tend to rise till OL. Units of labor are used. This is the units of variable factor. The x-axis shows, y-axis shows total product. This is the total product curve, and this is marginal product curve. You see, when marginal product tend to rise till OL, units of labor are used. This corresponds to point E on the MP curve. This is the situation of increasing returns to factor. See, when marginal product is rising, total product tend to rise at an increasing rate. It tend to rise. This is stage 1. Tend to rise at an increasing rate. This occurs till the point K on the total product curve. This corresponds to the situation of increasing returns to factor. Now, if you see, beyond OL units of labor, marginal product tends to decline, and total product increases only at a diminishing rate. This occurs between E and S. On the marginal product curve, and between K and T on the total product curve. This corresponds to a situation of diminishing returns to factor, the second stage. So this corresponds to a situation of diminishing returns to factor. You see, when employment of labor exceeds OS, marginal product becomes negative. Accordingly, total product starts declining. This is a situation of negative returns to a factor, third stage, occurring beyond point T on the total product curve and beyond point S on the marginal product